Normal goods and inferior goods, part of our week 2 lectures on demand. Before we get started, I personally recommend you to watch the video 2.4 demand curve before you watch this, because I would refer to the concept of demand curve to make this story more complete. So actually, the concept of normal goods and inferior goods are closely related to income and how that would affect our consumption on these two type of goods. So let's ask the question first. How would a rise in your income change your demand for goods? That seems very intuitive, right? If your income changes, usually you would change your behavior on consumption. So let's say yes, then how would the income change your demand curve? Whether would the demand curve shift, or would there be a movement along the demand curve? So if you get to know the demand curve, you know that the demand curve just tells the relationship between the commodity price and the quantity that you would consume at that price. So there are only two factors in demand curve. One is quantity, the other is price. So there's no place for income for now. So the way income affects demand curve has to be shifting the demand curve. But knowing that, we still have to answer the question whether how the income will shift the demand curve, whether it will shift it outward or shift it inward. If it will shift it outward, that means at the same price level, at the new income level, you would consume more of that good. And vice versa, if the demand curve shift inward at the same price level, you would just buy less of that particular goods. So to help us answer this question, we now formally introduce the definition of the two types of goods: normal goods versus inferior goods. The definition is very straightforward. If an increase in income increases demand for that good, that is a normal good, which simply means with higher income, you would buy more of that goods. And if an increase in income decreases demand for the good, that is inferior goods, which just means you would buy less quantity, smaller quantity of that goods if you have less money to dispose. But be careful with the simple definition. There can be some considerations adding on. So the same goods actually may be classified differently for different people. Let's take polenta for an example. For people who really like polenta because they put a lot of emphasis on their health, or they really just like the taste of polenta, polenta can be a perfect normal good because they really like it. They really have a preference on polenta over other type of foods. If they got more money, they would consume more of polenta. So that fits the definition of normal goods. But for people who choose polenta only because that's the only thing they can afford it, they don't really like it, they have other foods, more preferable foods. When they get richer, they would consume less polenta. They will switch to the thing that they really like. So in this case, polenta is an inferior good. On top of that, knowing the same goods may be classified differently for different people, we should also be aware of that the same goods may be classified differently for the same person at different income level. Take me for an example. When I was an undergrad, my parents would transfer money on a monthly basis. and at that time I really like fast food. And if I got a little bit more money, I would buy more fast food. But when I start to uh, earn some money on my own, then and also maybe because my parents give me more money, right? And then I start to try some more expensive alternatives, and I find that maybe French food and Italian food, they have higher quality and they taste better. So I start to switch to them instead of consuming fast food as I used to do. So in this case, uh, with higher income, I consume less of fast food. That's so in this case, fast food is an inferior good. Okay, that's all for normal goods and inferior goods. Hope you get a very clear understanding on this. And see you next time.